objectively, bringing all sides pocket. Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I am Christopher Lele. In the headlines, Tinubu unveils Blue Economy Plan, targets 5 million ocean-based jobs by 2035. Police seek greater community collaboration to boost security in ENUGU State. UAE bans citizens under 15 from social media and orders strict age verification for platforms. And first, tankers cross strait as details of US-Iran deal emerge. Details in a minute.
Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
President Bola Tinubu has unveiled an ambitious maritime development agenda aimed at creating 5 million ocean-based jobs by 2035, while positioning Nigeria as a leading force in Africa's blue economy and ocean governance. Speaking at the opening of the 11th Ocean Conference in Mumbai, Kenya, President Tinubu, who was represented by the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Shola Anikianoleye, said Nigeria was committed to transforming its vast marine resources into engines of economic growth, employment, and environmental sustainability. He disclosed that the administration has launched a National Blue Economy Action Plan focused on expanding fisheries, shipping, maritime tourism, and renewable energy, with the goal of generating millions of jobs, particularly for youths and women. Tinubu noted that Nigeria's 853 kilometers coastline and strategic position in the Gulf of Guinea placed the country at the heart of Africa's maritime future, stressing that ocean resources are critical to food security, trade, energy, supply, and livelihoods. The three-day conference brought together government leaders, international organizations, environmental experts, and maritime stakeholders to discuss sustainable ocean management, climate resilience, and the future of the global blue economy. The federal government has released guidelines to steer Nigeria's transition to a new tax regime. The guidelines released on Thursday by the Ministry of Finance are expected to guide taxpayers' revenue agencies, tax consultants, and other stakeholders through the transition period. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Taiwo Oyedele, while speaking on the development, said the guidelines were designed to ensure a smooth transition without creating uncertainty for taxpayers or revenue authorities. Oyedele said that the framework addresses key issues surrounding the implementation of the new tasks, particularly on matters involving existing tax obligations, ongoing audits, pending disputes, tax incentives, and transactions that may overlap between both regimes. He said assessments, audits, investigations, disputes, and enforcement actions relating to the period before the new regime takes effect will still be handled under the repealed legal framework. The Tax Act 2025 consists of 4 major laws, introduced as part of Nigeria's tax reform agenda, including the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, the Nigerian Tax Act, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act. Amid persistent security concerns across Nigeria, the Nigerian police force has intensified efforts to strengthen collaboration with communities and key stakeholders in order to build safer and more secure states. The engagement is in line with the directive of the Inspector General of Police, mandating Deputy Inspectors General representing the 6 geopolitical zones to engage stakeholders as part of a nationwide security strengthening initiative. Addressing participants drawn from various sectors in ENUGU, the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of logistics and supply, ENUGU, explained that the engagement would help in identifying and preventing potential security threats before they escalate and build trust through collective responsibility. He noted that security cannot be achieved by the police alone, noting that effective policing requires stronger community participation, intelligence sharing, and mutual trust between citizens and law enforcement agencies.
So you see, that masquerade cause is a cause, but it is not necessarily for negativity. Okay, so point is, let us stop calling gangsters, criminals, armed robbers, drug users, cultists. Let's call their activities what they are, and they themselves who they are.
The ENUGU State Police Commissioner Mamman Giwa described the visit as timely and significant as it provided an opportunity to review the command's operational activities, security outcomes, and challenges. Giwa said that the command has recorded significant progress in combating crime, particularly kidnapping and cult-related activities, attributing the successes to proactive policing, intelligence-led operations, and collaboration with other security stakeholders.
Recognizing that effective policing is anchored on competence, professionalism, and continuous skill enhancement, the command has been meticulous in strengthening the capacity of its personnel through structured training and development programs. Recognizing that effective policing is anchored on competence, professionalism.
The event attracted traditional rulers, presidents general of town unions, security agencies, community leaders, youth representatives, and other critical stakeholders from across Enugu State, who agreed that time has come for collective efforts and stronger collaboration between communities and relevant agencies in tackling insecurity. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, says the country must strengthen its military institutions to effectively confront emerging and existing security threats for the country to make meaningful progress. Abbas made remarks at the opening of a 2-day public hearing on 5 security-related bills, which are currently before the National Assembly after scaling second reading. The chairman of the House Committee on Defense, Babajimi Benson, agrees with the speakers that the proposed legislations will help strengthen military institutions and boost response to insecurity, including insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and cybercrime.
The bills listed for consideration over the next 2 days are not mere legislative exercises. They are, in my considered view, a direct response to the evolving security threats facing our beloved nation and the imperative to build a more resilient, inclusive, and effective military institution. This is a core component of our legislative agenda in the 10th Assembly. Fellow Nigerians, we cannot pretend that our nation is at ease. From the relentless insurgency in the Northeast, to the scourge of banditry and kidnapping in the Northwest.
The bill before us today addresses several critical aspects of national defense, including military education and professional development, joint operations effectiveness, medical training and healthcare support, strategic research and doctrine development, veterans welfare, military governance reforms, food security initiatives, and greater inclusiveness within the armed forces. Collectively, these proposals represent an important effort to build a stronger, more professional, innovative, and future-ready institution.
Currently under consideration include the Armed Forces Farms and Ranches Scheme, linking food security with military capacity in conflict-prone communities, gender representation in the armed forces, and the Veterans Federation Bill to improve welfare of retired personnel. The hearing of the Veterans Federation Bill, however, generated mixed reactions from the Director General of Military Veterans, the Family and Welfare Association, Awal Aliyu, who supported the bill, and Sadiq Shehu, the legal advisor of the FCT Chapel of the Nigerian Legion, who said that it was poorly drafted and biased and proposed a Ministry of Veterans Affairs instead.
2019, he did the same thing, called again, and we all went, and that was where the VFN was born. He said international best practice is on Veterans Federation of Nigeria, not Legion. Legion is an obsolete body that does not exist anywhere. Where the Legion does exist, it exists as an association, not a government, National Assembly enacted body.
The bill's biggest mistake is the proposal he mentioned President to the Minister of Defense to CDS to Unified Commanders. This mirrors exactly what operates in the United States, superficially. However, the bill fails to distinguish between operational command, administrative command. This must be separated. Most modern militaries clearly distinguish operational command and administrative control. Who is in charge of training? Who is in charge of force generation? Who is in charge of force employment? Without these distinctions, we'll have command disputes along the line.
The minority caucus in the House of Representatives has urged President Bola Tinubu to put politics aside and concentrate on tackling Nigeria's growing security and economic challenges. Addressing journalists at the National Assembly, Minority Leader Fred Agbede said the worsening insecurity, rising cost of living, and increasing incidents of kidnapping and killings across the country demand immediate government intervention. The caucus expressed concern over the death of retired Major General Rabi Abubakar while in captivity, as well as the continued abduction of skilled children and teachers in the country. The opposition lawmakers called for a comprehensive overhaul of the nation's security architecture, improved welfare for security personnel, and the implementation of a 6-month national security and economic recovery plan to address pressing national challenges and restore public confidence.
President Tinubu must suspend all 2027 political activities and declare a 6-month national security and economic recovery plan. Lead or leave. On security, an immediate overhaul of the national security architecture. Although a state of emergency has been declared by the President since November 25, 2025, what we are rather witnessing currently is a state of emergency on political openness rather than security. The nation therefore requires funding on security intelligence, not propaganda. Improve welfare for frontline troops and not wildcards for appointments.
The Court of Appeal in Abuja has struck out another attempt by the National Broadcasting Commission, the NBC, to overturn a federal high court judgment barring it from imposing fines on radio and television stations. The appellate court, in a unanimous ruling, dismissed the NBC's appeal, declaring its notice of appeal fundamentally defective and legally incompetent. Delivering the lead judgment, Justice Jane Inyang identified a critical discrepancy in the identity of the parties involved, noting that while the case at the Federal High Court was between the Incorporated Trustees of Media Rights Agenda and the National Broadcasting Commission. The notice of appeal listed the appellant as the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, which is a different legal entity. Justice Yang held that the inconsistency constituted a fundamental defect that deprived the court of jurisdiction to hear the appeal. The appeal stemmed from a January 17, 2024 judgment by Justice Rita Ofili, who ruled that the NBC acted unlawfully and unconstitutionally when it imposed 5 million naira fine on some media outlets for airing documentaries highlighting banditry and insecurity in Zamfara State, with the NBC claimed undermined national security. The latest decision by the court further strengthens judicial restrictions on the Commission's authority to impose monetary sanctions on broadcast organizations without court intervention. Still to come, Moscow region governor says 16 people were injured in big Ukrainian drone attack. First tankers crossed strait under US-Iran deal. And Ivorian player denied Canadian visa amid match-fixing probe in France. Stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Soldiers in Niger searched for militants around the airport and military airbase in the capital Niamey on Thursday. I take that again. Soldiers in Niger searched for militants around the airport and military airbase in the capital Niamey on Thursday after explosions and sustained gunfire were heard in what a security source described as an apparent attack on the facility. The situation appeared mostly calm by noon, with only sporadic fires possibly linked to the army sweeping operations. A witness told the press that gunfire, which lasted for 2 hours, came from the entrance to the airport. Niger has been fighting the militant Islamist insurgency for a decade, and in January suspected jihadists launched an attack on the same airport. Like its neighbors, Burkina Faso and Mali, Niger is run by a military junta that came to power in part because of the failure to deal with the violence. The authorities have not yet commented, and no group has said it was responsible, but an affiliate to the Islamic State group said it had carried out January's assault. The governor of the Moscow region, Andrei Voroboy, said on Thursday that 16 people had been injured in a major Ukrainian drone attack. Schools of Ukrainian drones bore down on Moscow, hitting the Russian capital's oil refinery for the second time this week in what Kyiv described as a demonstration of its growing capabilities that should force Russia to accept a peace deal. Russia, for its part, fired missiles into Kyiv, also for the second time this week, following an attack that damaged Kyiv's landmark 1,000-year-old monastery and drew international condemnation. Russia's defense ministry said 555 drones were shot down across the country, with 180 around Moscow alone. More than 4 years since Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine has increasingly been targeting Russia's energy infrastructure with long-range drone strikes, while Russia has continued firing missiles at Ukrainian cities. President Volodymyr Zelensky called the attacks on Russia a totally fair response to Russian strikes on Ukrainian cities and communities, and another important result of the work of their soldiers on facilities that provide support for the Russian war machine. The United Arab Emirates has set a minimum age of 15 for social media use, becoming the first Arab country to introduce such restrictions. Under a resolution approved on Thursday, children under the age of 15 will be prohibited from creating, using, or operating personal social media accounts in the UAE. The government's media office, which announced the move, said children below the age threshold will not be able to post content, comment, share, or join public groups. The new framework introduces stricter safeguards for older teenagers, with adolescents aged 15 and 16 permitted to use social media platforms, but only under enhanced protection measures designed to limit risks associated with online activity. According to the government, the safeguards include age-appropriate content controls, restrictions on interactions with unknown users, screen time management tools, and parental supervision features. The regulations apply to all social media platforms operating within the UAE and require technology companies to adopt robust age verification systems. The United States and Iran have signed a deal to end the Middle East war, with the ceremony set for Friday in Switzerland that will mark the start of a 60-day negotiation period. Trump put his signature to the Memorandum of Understanding during a candlelight dinner at the Palace of Versailles following its G7 summit, as host French President Emmanuel Macron and other guests applauded. The Memorandum of Understanding aims to put an end to months of conflicts affiliated by US-Israeli strikes on Iran in February, which wreaked chaos across the region and rattled the global economy. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bakr said the document was finalized with the signature of the President. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, who mediated the agreement, said on X that it shall enter into force with immediate effect. The deal aims to draw a line under the war launched February 28 by the United States and Israel, prompting Iran to counterattack with missiles and drone salvos across the region and effectively shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway for the world economy. Iran and the United States commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in a maximum of 60 days, extendable with mutual consent. Meanwhile, 3 Saudi-flagged super tankers carrying 6 million barrels of crude sailed through the Straits of Hormuz on Thursday, hours after US President Donald Trump signed a deal with Iran to end the war that has disrupted global energy supplies. Those shippers say it will still take time for transit across the strait to reach pre-war levels, with a need yet to ensure safe access and clear mines. There were immediate signs of an impact ships, which once might have concealed their positions by switching off the transponders, were now broadcasting their locations poised to transit the strait. Benchmark Brent crude futures prices fell by another 2% to below $78 a barrel, lowest since the shooting began. But in Lebanon, where more than 1 million people are displaced by the fighting, Israeli forces launched fresh airstrikes on Thursday morning, raising doubt about how far Trump will go to force his wartime allies to halt an offensive he has now pledged to end. Iran has always said any peace deal must also cover Lebanon, and in an apparent major concession to Iran, the memorandum signed by Trump explicitly calls for the permanent termination of the war in Lebanon and for its territorial integrity and sovereignty to be ensured. Now some sports stories. El Wahi, the Cote d'Ivoire striker, has been denied a visa to enter Canada for his country's second match against Germany. The Ivorian Football Federation announced that the striker will not be able to travel with the delegation to Canada for Saturday's match in Toronto. Although the federation gave no reason for Wahi's visa refusal, the striker is currently under investigation in France for sports fixing after he was accused of deliberately earning a yellow card while playing for his club, Nice, against the Mets in May. Betting operators had noticed an unusual high volume of bets placed on the Wahi being booked during the French League game and reported it to the authorities. Wahi is the second World Cup player to be denied entry into Canada after Ghana's Thomas Partey also faced similar difficulty due to his sexual assault case in the UK. Rowan Williams, the goalkeeper and captain of South Africa, says Africans have to support each other in good and bad moments and leave politics to politicians. Williams spoke at the press conference ahead of South Africa's second game in Group A against the Czech Republic at the 2026 World Cup, reacting to online trolling and banter from other Africans aimed at the Bafana Bafana after they lost to Mexico in the opening match of the competition. The lack of support for South Africa is a reflection of growing anger at the xenophobic attacks against other black Africans of the country. Williams said he was a target of fabricated quotes, criticizing other Africans for not supporting his country during the Mexico match. He said that every African country has politics it is dealing with back home, but said the continent must learn to set them aside and unite on the global stage. Thomas Tuchel has downplayed concerns over Declan Rice's fitness after the midfielder was forced off during the England's victorious World Cup opener against Croatia. The sight of the key holding midfielder limping off in the 72nd minute caused alarm for the national team. The 27-year-old was a key player for England and had provided an assist for Harry Kane's goal earlier in the match. However, he appeared to be struggling with a knock and requested to be replaced in the second half. Tuchel confirmed that the substitution was a precautionary measure after Rice signalled discomfort. The England boss explained in his post-match press conference that he saw some unusual ball losses by Declan and a bit of discomfort before he was changed. Real Madrid confirmed the arrival of defender Ibrahima Konate from Liverpool on Thursday on a 4-year deal at the end of his contract at Anfield. The Spanish giant said in a statement that Los Blancos and centre-back Konate reached an agreement for him to become a Real Madrid player for the next 4 seasons until June 30, 2030. The 27-year-old moved to Liverpool in 2021 from RB Leipzig, playing 183 times and winning the Premier League in 2025 and the FA Cup in 2022 amongst other silverware. The defender, currently at the World Cup with France, joins a Real side already reinforced this summer by the arrival of Jose Moreno as coach, as well as the signings of Spain left-back Marco Corella and Portugal midfielder Bernardo Silva. Real have renewed the contract of centre-back Antonio Rudiger until 2027 after Dani Carvajal and David Alaba left the club at the end of their contracts at the Santiago Bernabeu. That's the news. I am Christopher Lely. Thanks for watching.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
I should try harder, so...
Okay, I don't know that one.
Outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that.
No.
That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on eVibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? Nigeria has gone digital. Introducing Free TV, the national platform for every Nigerian. Get 100 plus channels immediately. Sports, news, and entertainment in your native language with clear picture quality. Whether you're in the city or the village, our satellite signal reaches every corner of 36 states from day one. No monthly subscription, just a compatible decoder and you are set. It's a national asset built for you. Take the show on the road, download the Free TV app and stream your favorite channels anywhere. Starting this May, scan to download the app or call 0700 388 7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Hello and welcome to another day on Muse. Muse is a program Signature Television where we think and talk. Today on Muse, we have just few things on our agenda of musing. You know, here we think and talk, and whoever thinks and talks is selective of what to think and talk about. Otherwise, like in Nigerian parlance, while I know they finish. My name is Christian Chibuzo Maduka, your chief muser, and I keep saying with this appendage, each time I refer to myself as chief muser, that's the position they put me in, and I've been struggling to fill that big shoe. Well, it's okay, let's take me the way I am, according to the sacred song and sorrows. He said, take me the way I am, and some people say, it's Akuku Kwendi CMS. No, that's by the way, but that's it. Today, first on our news list, our agenda is that the repatriated Nigerians from South Africa, few of them has gotten home. I think about half. But we are sure at least about 500, over 580 something people that have been repatriated from South Africa will eventually come back home at the expense of Nigerian government, you know. And we can hear a lot of viral video about the repatriated Nigerians. Some of them are talking about experience. Somebody said he watched his friend, they removed one of his eyes. That's horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible. And you ask yourself, what can make South Africans do this to Nigerians and some other citizens of other countries they found in the streets or they found in South Africa? What could make them do this? And this is not without repercussion. Because, you know, the man who is running after a snake to kill snake is there. And the snake that is being pursued is also running for their life. Life is sweet. Everybody needs to live. Because that's sacred divine gift. Nobody in this life has power to take life. But some people have arrogated themselves with such powers to take people's life at any time. And to talk about so many issues that Nigerians are battling with at this time. You talk about hardship, hunger. You talk about terrorists and banditry, insecurity. You talk about high rising cost of existing as a citizen in Nigeria. You can't buy food, you can't buy utilities, high transport costs. You talk about rent, you can't pay rent, you can't go to school. The insecurity has double plunged. People can't go to school and come back because they are likely to be abducted. School have become soft target for bandits and terrorists in Nigeria. Then we add with the fact that Nigerians who are even running away from Nigeria to find safety in some other countries are being brought back. Some are being brought back with wounds inflicted on them. That's the ones who are lucky to be alive because many died in the process. Many were killed. Many were, many were made handicapped. It's one who they remove one of his eyes can never get that eye back in their life, especially with eyes. He will live with that trauma. Who will ask himself, what is my offense? That they told us that we have an African Union. And they told us it started with the Organization of African Unity. They told us that Africa is one. They told us that Africa have this brotherhood or whatever you called it. But now, something satanic has stepped in, and the fabric that hold Africa brotherhood together. They call it xenophobia. Now let me ask the South Africans, what do they think? My father told me that nobody, if they ask everybody to go back to their maternal uncle's house, that nobody will be at home because everybody would have left their houses to go to their maternal uncle's house. So some of you who don't know what I'm saying, this is a proverb of bone and silence. The South Africans will know that whatever is found in the house of lizard, you are likely to find same in the house of rat. That is how I say, find somebody to translate it, especially some of our South African friends. What would you say is the fault that Nigerians did that they deserve this kind of treatment? And we have South Africans in Nigeria, and we still go to African Union and the former OAU. I remember one time the Green Eagles of Nigeria were playing sometime in 1978 in a match. Was it around that? They were playing African Nations Cup. And the town, the hosting community were attacking Green Eagles of Nigeria because Green Eagles of Nigeria and Nigerians generally has been doing well in African football, both in Africa and in the world. When they were being attacked, the commentator of that match, may God bless his soul, the Okonkwo man, the man, what's his name again? Ernest Okonkwo, the man who manufactures wares. He said, this is against the spirit of OAU. This is against the spirit of Africa. The police are in South Africa, they are doing nothing. And Nigerians are being killed, they're being wounded, they're being packed and hauled and pushed back to Nigeria. And we still have embassy of Nigeria in South Africa, embassy of South Africa in Nigeria, under pretended relationship. And we are muffling words. I don't want to go back. In the university days, we skipped meals to make sure South Africans get their freedom from the apartheid regime of Pieter Botha and his people. And now, that is like the cyclist who visited your house, you want to see him go. When he wants to mount his bicycle, he will give you the backside. That is a lesson for South Africa. No problem. The world is a place, and it continues to be. These people who have done this to Nigerians today might live and die. The sad seed of hatred they've sowed between some Nigerians and their people will find time to go. Let us be cautious when we do certain things. I watched a viral video of a police officer dressing a woman dressed in red and some colors of their national colors in their uniform of paramilitary, talking about how bad Nigerians can be. But let's talk about it. Wherever you put your hand inside the backside, you will smell that bad smelling thing. There is no place that you have a wall that you don't have a backyard. Meaning, we might have some bad Nigerians, we might have some bad South Africans. So, who will make us judge to begin to profile a whole country of over 240 million people and say they are worse than Satan? And it sounds good, because we can say it. If we talk and think like we do in this program, it will be good. Nigerian government, as usual, is going to bring back people, and we are talking. And that is a lesson for Nigerian government. I am not an advisor. I am not an advisor on diaspora matter. I am not anything, but I talk as a Nigerian. It's not high time that Agama lizard does not do what makes Agama an Agama lizard. Children will eat Agama lizard in both dry season and rainy season. A word is enough for the wise. That's the proverb of bone and silence. The World Cup is going on. The South Africans have lost their support from African footballing community because of xenophobia. Some people refer to them as Republic of Xenophobia. And if you ask me, that cannot be a better description of that. And now they go to World Cup, they've lost to Mexico in the first outing match, and everybody is like, that is good. Let them return before they are xenophobic. As xenophobic citizens of xenophobic Republic of xenophobic South Africa, let them know that they have gone to play football in South. And some of the people who have gone to watch football there may not go back for one reason or another. After all, it's because that Afo Salmo Okoye can call Toluje Tibwe. Find out what the meaning of this. No problem. We exist. But this, what I don't know what to call it, so pardon my language, but if you think the African Union still think it is overrated, has no protection for anybody, and they continue to become rat race, dog eat dog, it's not going to take us to anywhere. This is how Africa will develop. This leg, Nama go take rich I laugh in xenophobic language. The next item we have on our agenda for this afternoon or this time, depending on where you are watching us, is insecurity, the presidency. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander of Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Jagaban, has given a word of advice in his 2026 June 12 celebration, anniversary celebration. He said to the people who are causing insecurity in Nigeria, because if you ask me, I don't think it's only bandits and the terrorists that are causing insecurity in Nigeria. Some politicians, some businessmen, some ordinary Nigerian citizens are aiding and abetting insecurity. Some are armed robbers who are still stealing and killing. Some are pickpocketers who, when they find time, they kill. Some are using any other means to spy people. They find a new language from Nigeria that have entered Oxford Dictionary as spy, as killing. They want to use it. It sounds like spy. And life that God has created goes with spy signs in Nigeria, and that's it. And we think it's okay. That's by the way. I'm not going to that. I'm talking about what the president told all the people who are concerned with insecurity in Nigeria. He said, stop such action or die. You can describe that as go back, listen again to what the president said. Go find the written version, read in black and white what the president meant when he said, stop whatever you are doing to bring insecurity to our resilient and happy nation, Nigeria, or you die. That's a good one. Coming from the president, after a long time of him condemning in speeches, sympathizing, empathizing, calling for security chiefs meetings, sending information to National Assembly to discuss insecurity in Nigeria, engaging with diplomatic bodies and international communities on how we can curb insecurity in Nigeria. He has, on June 12, 2026, in his presidential remarks said, all of you that are involved with insecurity in Nigeria, you know yourselves. He says, stop or die. But let's come back home from beyond what the presidency have said. Now, it can be both physical or spiritual. You know, as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he has power of life and death. Ikuba baye. That's what my friends describe in Yoruba land. When they're trying to give honors to the Oba, the Oba, the Supreme ruler of Ife Kingdom. He says, Iku Babayeye. The man who has power of life and death. The father of life and death, you know. And as the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa, black African nation. We know that when he say a word, it carries both the potency that is spiritual and the power that is physical. So I don't know how else, if they are just trying to bring that we should think and talk about what the presidency said. It means the president has woken up and want to really face this undeclared war. It's an emergency situation. 46 teachers and their pupils from Oyo town or near whatever near Oyo town in Oyo state are still in captivity while I'm making this speech, while I'm doing this. Some students and some other people in some other locations, so many places are still in captivity. Ransom being demanded, some being tortured and killed as a proof that the people who are holding them, the captors, want to make good their threat. It's no more hidden thing because they even post viral videos who are going on in our national telecom system. We have NCC who tracks every other offense that have been going on but has never been able to track those who do business, blood business, and they go on and they buy recharge card and data from the telecom organizations. They hold their numbers and they have biodata. They tell they register these numbers. And we have not been able to sanction these people. You remember that if you are partly directly and indirectly connected with the insecurity of Nigeria, the president's word of stop it or die is also concerned. So both the telecom organizations, hold the bandits and terrorists, hold their numbers, hold your subscriber to your service. Either you stop or you die. And then one of the things, I will come back to that. Now, the president is what he said, and the president meant his word. For so many things, I think the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria want to make do his word because, of course, you know, there's this second tenor, scrambling, petitioning, horse trading going on. Some kind of, the president has to live up to his word. So it's coming at a good time because they told me all along, if you climb an Iroko tree, you better do all your firewood collection there because Iroko tree is not tree you climb every day. Now that the president, Jagaba himself, want to return for the second tenor to Aso Rock, there are so many things he will promise us now, and he will try to make good his promises because Nigerians are now, what we see is what convinces us, dear president, to vote for you again. It's not a condition, but like I trust you when you promise us you will do. It won't be like the issue of the carpenter I met in ENUGU, he was cleaning up his wood. And they were asking him, he said, the ENUGU girls are promiscuous. I said, Mokoye, what do you mean by that? He said they are promiscuous. If they promise, they will not come. That's what makes them promiscuous. And people burst into laughter. Our president is not promiscuous, so if he promises, he will come. That's the thing. Because he's a gentleman, he's a sagacious, creative, and well-renowned politician in Nigeria. After all, to go to the highest peak, apogee, and zenith of rulership in Nigerian political structure is not a mere feat. For you to get there, you deserve the term Jagaba. Congratulations, Jale. All we are waiting for you is to make good your promises because Nigerians are greedy. And not until we bleed to death. Is it? Any nation that is missing one by one and they are laughing, they will not finish missing because you come to that community tomorrow, you will not see anybody. They would have missed and missed until they finish because they're not taking it serious. The issue of insecurity in Nigeria is crippling and eating upon Nigerian population like a caterpillar will do on a very green leaf on a summer morning. Remember that caterpillar in Igbo, they call it a ENUGU. When you enter any tree in the morning, by evening, it will finish everything green on that tree and leave that tree like skeleton. That is what is happening to us. So any move from any side of Nigeria, coming from the highest office in Nigeria, giving us some confidence that something is being done or will be done or is being done now, it's a so-called. Thank you very much, Jagaban, our president. We trust you. Well, let's come back home. Though the third agenda on our agenda this afternoon, this morning, this night in your reading room, it says, post-party primary elections in Nigeria, the outcome of post-primary elections in Nigeria. Post-primary election has come in Nigeria. Well, that's what we are talking now. We are not talking about the election itself. It is the party primaries have come and gone, and a line up with incidences we have not finished discussing. We talked about it in last episode of this program. We are still talking about it today, meaning that if what in mouth the chop no finish, the jaw cannot rest. Yes, why do I say so? Senator Seriake Dixon had just risen in a meeting with the flag bearer of the ADC, their party, that's P2B, recently. What are they talking about? They discussed post-primary outcomes of NDC. The flag bearer of ADC, His Excellency Abubakar Atiku, has just finished his tour of reconciliations with all the party members who felt miffed out of the primary elections, the outcome. And incidentally, one of them has accepted to be his vice president. You know? That's still the outcome. We had the vice president, the vice presidential flag bearer of ADC, His Excellency Rotimi Amechi. He said, I am not going to the primaries to be the vice president. I am not in contest to be president. And that's it. When I talk, say, make una dey careful about politicians. Una go there, things like the joke. Some of you bettered your life that Rotimi has said it and he said it. But behold, after the horse trading and the push and push and pull and all the negotiations, the man has accepted to become the vice president to ADC, Atiku Abubakar. That's one. On the APC, there is still talks, reconciliation about those. Some has jumped out of the party, went to seek for platform, other platforms that will give them ticket to run because they couldn't get the ticket in APC. Some people have been called back and said, don't hold on that well, if you get through 2027, you will be compensated with this or that, either with contract. The winner takes it all kind of Nigerian position. So once the party where the win head or tail is for, don't worry, not to run anywhere. But those who do not have confidence or patience are running off. And incidentally, some of them have gotten tickets in the end, some got in NDC, some got in ADC. But that's the restless run of low cost of Nigeria political structure as you roll the chain of bicycle as it's rolling from weak to strong and comes down. It continues. So, which one? Why should we go to primary elections and rig it and begin to do face mending? Which road can take us to Onitsha and make it shorter cut? Onitsha people, we're gonna pardon me. It was a manner of speaking. I didn't mean any stigma or harm. So it means you Nigerian politicians, If I give you election to conduct even in your house, you will rig it. And you boldly come and count us how you do. Even the A4 option that you people are indirectly adopting. We recently celebrated June 12th, and nobody mentioned the author of June 12th, who made June 12th a reality and a history. Nobody mentioned the professor, the INEC chairman, the professor himself, who made June 12th to be a history. The Anambra-born statesman, courageous, brainy, he made June 12th to be a history. But in all recording of June 12th in Nigeria, as Nigerians celebrate and all, nobody mentioned his name. And it's as if the spirit of Nigeria has come upon me. I am still trying to get the name of professor. The man, chairman of INEC, and during the time he stood his ground and wanted to deliver the June 12th of 1993, where IBB said he's annulling June 12th. It's unfortunate, but then whatever, once you cover the truth, someday it will come. But the spirit of June 12th is alive. As we all do this, it will haunt Nigeria, because if we do not want truth, the truth will suppressed, will burst out one day by force as a volcanic eruption and begin to fight us. So, what do I say? We openly, clearly planned to rig primary elections. Now we are taking time again to go and bend fences. What stopped Nigerians from having a very clean, fair, and free and fair primary elections? I don't, some people said even some parties that have decided that one candidate will be their flag bearer, still rigged when they were counting for the man that they have taken. You have said nobody is competing with this person, yes? You still went and did rigging when you are counting for him. You count 10, 100, 1,000, 1 million, and you are recording it, and you posted it like that to the world to see how the number of figures. Some people were posting, you go to their website, you look at their database, their membership is not up to 2,000, but the people who deliver their flag bearer is over 10 million. Now this leg, now I'm going to take ritual mile. So all of you are looking at my mouth because I think and talk to say what you want me to say. If you think, like one politician told Nigerians, if you think you don't know what I am saying, then something is wrong with your ear or your and eye doctor that work in Nigerian political systems. We expect them to tell us what they have done, their government have done to win another election or to continue in government or to take over from the ruling government. They are abusing Nigerians, talking down on us, telling us all manner of things and all. That's the way. If there is election in Nigeria, truly, Nigerians will, in 2027, make their mind known with how they vote. The next item on the agenda is the proposed abolition of common entrance examination in Nigeria is sparking off debates. Since the last 5 years in Nigeria, Nigeria have continued to destroy all existing systems that are seen to be working. Instead of strengthening it, they will first destroy it, and they find it difficult to create an alternative body that can work the way that the old system have been working. And I find it difficult to. Why do we want to destroy a house built when we have not built a new one to pack into? Do we destroy the existing house so that it will be in the rain and the sun while we are constructing a new one? Is that thinking smart? Why do we want to destroy the common entrance? Because we want 9334 or whatever system they want to create?
Good morning and welcome to Signature Morning on Signature TV. Today is Friday, the 19th day of June 2026. It's a pleasure to have you join us this morning. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha. Let's go on a break, and when we come back, we'll look at what is making the rounds on our headlines on the dailies this morning. Welcome back. Now looking at the headlines this morning, we'll start off with the Punch newspaper. The headline says, bandits attacks. Federal government raises 500 billion naira emergency security fund. Fund deducted from federation accounts ahead of May FAC meeting. DSS seeks ban on foreign funding of security operations. Governors engage attorneys general on state police structure. Flood crisis, next slashes prevention fund by 50%, approves 83 billion naira. On page 7, police secure election materials across LG's INEC ready. EU CSOs launch real-time election observation hub for Ekiti decides. Fraudsters rake in 134 billion naira from banks, customers, and this is from CBN. Insecurity, APC knocks opposition, rejects Tinubu resignation call. All right, now to the Vanguard newspaper. Page 6, insecurity. Governors seek swift establishment of state police. Says there is need for state police to be constitutionally sound and aligned with federalism and citizens' rights. State attorneys general to review proposed constitutional amendments, frameworks for state police. Reiterates commitment to ongoing power sector reform. Above the mast, oil slumps to lowest price since US-Iran conflict. Anxiety as 37 candidates battle for 7 seats in Ekiti, Enugu, Rivers, Kano, others. FG says over 742 Nigerians in South Africa to be evacuated before June 30. Still on page 9, Middle East war, US lifts Iranian ports blockade as deal comes into force. Why I okayed deal despite having different view, Khamenei. FG rolls out guidelines for transition to new tax regime, clarifies pre-2026 tax obligation. UN says 950 rights activists, journalists, unionists killed, disappeared in 2025. We hear your security fears, FG tells Christians. Afeni Ferre Insecurity, rising terror attacks threaten democracy, on page 37. Over to the Nigerian Tribune. Page 4, Ekiti poll. CSOs demand transparent, credible poll. Police map out security deployment in flashpoint areas to crack down on vote buyers. INEC moves sensitive materials to 16 LGAs. NURTW, RTEAN promise timely movement of election materials. State declares today work-free. General Rabe's death, retired generals seek stronger reforms, back stronger community defense. Court sentences 3 terrorists to death as 2 get life imprisonment. Page 31, banditry, false security alert sets Kwara in panic mode. FAC, FG states LGs share 2.3 trillion naira for May. Obi demands transparency in government borrowing, cites South Africa as model. On page 3, governors renew support for state police, demand constitutional safeguards, back power reforms, National Solar Initiative, to review proposed constitution amendment, legal frameworks for state police. NEC approves 83.2 billion naira to combat flooding, climate-related emergencies. DSS seeks amendments to trust fund bill. The rider says kicks against foreign funding of security operations. And the health column, AI diagnoses brain tumors in minutes instead of weeks, says researchers, on page 21. Now let's look at the Nation newspaper. And it says DSS rejects foreign funding for security intelligence gathering. Secret Service seeks amendment to proposed bill. Governors perfect state police modalities. Governors' wives seek support for cancer patients, survivors. APC targets total sweep of poll iniquity. All set for by-elections in Ondo, ENUGU, Rivers, Nasarawa. On page 2, blockade of Strait of Hormuz lifted as United States, Iran sign deal to halt war. Above the mask, Kiyamo, why government is backing local airlines, new planes for United Nigeria. We must not lower guard in Ebola prevention measures, on page 6. And regional development commissions get guidelines. Eco Bridge requires 12 billion naira to avoid collapse, says Umahi. Over to the Daily Trust newspaper. How my only daughter died in Kano school, on page 4. Insecurity, government must be proactive, retired generals. NEC approves 83 billion naira to tackle flooding, climate emergencies. Woman who allegedly killed grandmother unstable, says family. Minister says Nigeria may sanction South African firms over xenophobia. State police must align with federalism, citizens' rights, governors. Natasha suspension. Ireti Kingibe confirms forgery allegation. How Showore lost in his alleged rights violation suit against SSS, says its DG. And now to the Guardian newspaper. International Day, 40% inaccurate False lab results worsen sickle cell epidemic, pains. Imports surge, Nigeria pays 1.9 trillion naira on petrol in May amid dip in oil prices. 2027, NDC exempts Obi Kwankwaso from anti-defection oath. FG explains prisoner transfer pact with Ethiopia, fourth list in circulation. 30,000 residents on free HIV care in Ogun, says Abiodun. Ekiti election, over 1 million voters to decide as INEC distributes materials to 16 councils. Senate, NDPC push digital economy, amend Cybercrime Act. Violence, insecurity, worsening household poverty, report reveals. And finally, on The Guardian, experts warns 30,000 communities risk flooding as NEC approves 83.2 billion naira intervention. That is our newspaper headlines on our dailies this morning. Now for our review, over to you, Chris Maduka. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Uche. And good morning, dear people of the world. Welcome to another day. This is Friday, so what did they say about Fridays?
Thank God it's Friday.
Oh, thank God it's Friday. I haven't forgot. In Nigeria, so many things make you forget the usual balance. But we trudge on all the same because we are resilient people. Welcome and God bless you.
Right. So, the Punch says, still on the bandits attacks, federal government raises 500 billion naira emergency security funds, and these funds are deducted from the Federation account ahead of FAC meeting. And DSS seeks ban on foreign funding of security operations, while they also engage in state police structure.
If you get this kind of money and want to use it to firm up state police, Nigerians will, I think, convinced that you are doing something towards an objective. But if we keep chewing from both sides of our mouth the issue of state police, and we are mapping this kind of money directly from Federal Allocation Commission. That means every single Nigerian is paying for this. And it will be swallowed again in security fund. We have had issues of security fund where governors have a large chunk of money. According to the Constitution, what we had, I am not in there, that money is not accountable to anybody. They just, like my friend in, which language in Nigeria, say FOSA for governors. They don't account for it. That is what they do with it, with this high level of insecurity in their states, nobody knows. Because if you put it together, even if you need to use it to negotiate for the release of that money can pay. But the governors swallow it hook, line, and sinker. Now the federal government has come up to his own, the one he will map out, after 58 billion. We read in the newspaper yesterday that has been spent. This kind of money now is directly put from federal allocation and kept aside for emergency, for security. Only God knows. And all this is happening when 2027 is highest agenda in the mind of our leaders. So if you ask me, a lot of people will say, this thing is not joining. Is it campaign money? You heard what the Minister of Works said. The amount of money that are asking for and all that. So when all these things is coming up now, they need to convince Nigerians that they're not mopping up money for campaign. Of course, the winner takes it all. But instead of deceiving us because security is high in our mind, and they will say it. We have read here some weeks ago that out of all the money mapped out for the security, for our security agencies, that not up to 15% were released. And we don't even know which budget we're operating because Senate convened emergency, a National Assembly convened emergency to ask for permission to extend 2025 budget. Whether we have finished implementing 2024 budget, we don't know. Now we are asking for extension of 2025 budget, and we are in the, what do I call this, June, almost the second quarter of 2026 are just rounding up. So it's only the person who is wearing clothes and is taking his bath that we know what he's up to. We can't stay here, but what we are saying, it doesn't mean totally that the federal government and the people who take decisions are not taking decisions. The idea is that they are not like letting Nigerians understand, let it join something that will make sense in their mind of these decisions and where it's taking us to. There is disjointed decisions jump up here and there. They're ad hoc. They're not sustainable. They are not. It's not like we find a process what led to that decision. They just, all these kind of things are not joining them. That's what I'm seeing about that. That money is huge. If we put it together, we can get state police and federal police going. And even all the security agencies, we find a lease of life. But when we set it alive for emergency, only federal government knows what you want to do with that. Because if we need emergency security, we do. If we need increased budget for security, we do. The idea is that if you account for the small, then when they give you a big one, you can account for it. Because in Nigeria, the issue of trust has become the greatest bane of our whatever is happening. The governed and the governors are not in the same. They are not on the same pedestal. The one governed, the governors are up there. The one governed are down there, and that brings a lot of disjointedness in our situation.
All right. Now, another major headline is the Ekiti poll. CSOs are demanding for a transparent and credible poll. Today is a work-free day in the state. And the Nation says that the APC is targeting a total sweep of the polls in Ekiti. And also by elections in Ondo, ENUGU, Rivers, and Nasarawa.
Well, it's not. They can target because they've done it before and they've done. What that means is that the ruling party is now sounding like political bully. Honestly, even if they target, they are not supposed to say it. A ruling party does not have, what does the other party have to compete with them if they come up in this kind of openness and start saying that kind of thing? You know what I mean? It's like a kid of 10 years and his father, who is 60 years, will come out to want to do a fight. And the father will boasting, I'm going to kill it. It's obvious the father will kill the young man. The fight of unequals. That is the greatest danger in Nigerian democracy. Once the incumbency is there, they want to exploit all the situations. So imagine it's not just the state. You are talking about the federal might, where a campaign will go on. The first president will come from Abuja to go to Ekiti to campaign against another party that may not have fielded even a local government chairman in an election. And you expect all of them to go to the pool to win. And the campaign goes with mobilization of resources. Money goes beyond everywhere, So when you put together, that's why this democracy thing is not working out well in Africa, because we have a sense. Africans have this kind of sense of the winner takes it all. And it's not joining, it's not making it democracy. In fact, democracy is not democracy the way it's practiced, both in Nigeria and in some other African countries. If this is how democracy is going, it's not working out for us. Because once somebody, you hold a dwarf who holds you down for a fight, for a wrestling play. But once dwarf holds you down, he will not tell you in a fight, he will start giving you blows. That's Nigerian democracy. Once the people, a party secures that power at the center, they use it to the greatest level, even to disadvantage, to win. So they hit below the belt. According to Zik, our Honorable Zik of blessed memory, one of the greatest founders of this country, hitting below the belt to gain political advantage is what bigger parties or the central party is doing in Nigeria. Imagine if APC comes to say that, what do you expect people like PRP, SDP to say? Who is going to support them? I was listening to one virtual video one small girl was doing. They say, whenever you come, they ask you, who is your father? Who is your father? So when he goes to Nigerian election, they will ask you, who is your father? If your father is not APC, then you have a problem because you have to explain and explain and explain why you even have to come out for that election. It doesn't sound well for our democratic growth. That's all I say about that. So APC can as well claim victory before it happens. If they, after claiming this victory, they still come and openly show fairness in the process. So if they lose, they'll give up. If they don't. But the issue is that they will claim this and then in some other ways, some of the people, because the people who are members, we see how the bigger party has it. Some of them will go a long way to make good the claim of their bigger masters. And whatever they do, the buck stops on their desk. So let's see how it works out. Wish them luck.
All right. Now, on The Guardian, it says International Day, 40% inaccurate and false lab results worsen sickle cell epidemic and pains.
Well, because we have in Nigeria a lot of quackery, where most of the qualified medical personnel have jackpot. As of yesterday, we have the data that was saying we have only 50,000 to care for 200. That means both the doctors, lab technicians, all the microbiologists, and all the people in the line of medicine. We have 50,000 to care for 240 million. Now, they told you over 60-something thousand have jackpot in 1 year. That includes the people who are qualified to run the labs. So you find some people who have apprenticed in a lab of those people who have jackpot. They go and open their laboratory, anything you come, they give you anything. And that is the greatest dent. If anybody has not had a relationship or very close to somebody who is suffering from sickle cell, and you go and somebody gives you a false result, telling you that probably your child is AA, when the person is SS. And over time, you will be suffering, you won't even know what the problem is because you have a fake lab result. So you will be treating wrongly and the child will go or the person will die. That is the worst thing that can happen to SSS or sickle cell issue in Nigeria. If you detect and have good lab results ahead of time, you now know what you are managing ahead of time. So when we are talking about the rising in the case of sickle cell in Nigeria, coupled with the fact that you have bad lab results because of fake and quack people who practice medical laboratories. So where is the so-called? Where are we going? So everything about Nigeria has to do with quackery. We have quackery in politics, quackery in other sectors, even quackery. Yesterday, a friend was sworn in as a chairman of MBA, Obibo, in Port Harcourt. And he was saying that they are going to stop quack lawyers, fake lawyers who practice. They are going to now have a registration number and make sure that when you appear in the court, they say, what's the registration number? They will check. If laboratory scientists and practitioners begin to do that, medical lab people, begin to know who owns the lab, who registered you, where is your number. If we don't do that, some people in the remotest of the village go there and claim anything, medical doctor. We have heard of somebody who practiced medicine for over 20 years without WAEC. He didn't even go to school at all. He was even conducting a surgery, operating on people. This country is another thing. So you can imagine, with somebody who will go into the lab, do bubuya, come out and print the result and give you. You go home, and without knowing you are sitting on time bomb. That is something to think about when you talk about sickle cell. I am talking with personal experience about, so if it's happening with somebody who knows your child is a sickle cell, and you're talking about somebody who they gave wrong result, and you're running with that for a long time, before you know it, you either lose that child, or you are spending money pursuing emptiness without result. So as we celebrate sickle cell, we want to encourage all the fighters struggling for their life to keep struggling and holding faith. One day, we have heard that even the cure is coming out. It's just that it's not affordable to third world countries like Nigeria now. We have heard of several cure coming out in sickle cell to alleviate that situation. But even the advice is that know your partner genotype before you go into marriage. Now, that's the most important thing to do.
Of course. Now, let's take one more. FG rolls out guidelines for transition to new tax regime and clarifies pre-2026 tax obligations.
The federal government, with the way they were handling the tax regime and new tax regime, shows that they don't even have confidence in that they're doing. If federal government has confidence, like I told you, Tony Montana in the film Scarface told somebody who was pointing gun at him, he said, that you shoot, you use the F language, don't do that. You know? The federal government has been talking about friends, knowing that there are so many things they want to do with tax regime that they themselves, federal government of Nigeria, do not even have confidence in what they want to do. They don't even trust the system they want to implement. Because the system has a lot of people, 90 million flies cannot be eating that thing they eat, and you think they are wrong. So if most people in Nigeria have been condemning the new tax regime and federal government has mulling it, turning around it, chewing it from both sides, and up to now they're still talking about it, means that even federal government and all the agency of government that is handling that do not know what they're doing. They don't have confidence in what they're doing because Nigerians at this point are saying, do we really need that? Do we really need that? Can you tax Nigerians to death? Everything you are talking about is tax. And any leader that wants to eat or uses the subjects for dinner, breakfast, and lunch has always gone to bed on empty stomach. You are feeding on yourself. It's like celebrating Christmas or any of the celebrations for your mother-in-law with fake money. What you have given out is what you take. So the federal government has over 240 million Nigerians. Out of over 70% of them are living in abject poverty. The businesses are collapsing. The civil servants are not getting increase in salary, and you are bringing new tax regime to tax you. Are you going to use the blood of Nigerians to run the government? The oil that God has given us in large number that can sustain us, we encourage the mafias. They steal it and sell and bring it back at high expense for us to buy as well refined petroleum product. The houses have increased. Tariff for water, telecom, electricity has increased. Still is not enough. You're talking about a new tax regime where that is not joined. Nobody has been explained to Nigerians what that means. After about doing this for a year, talking about tax regime. And I think from what he's talking about, any slave who sees where a fellow slave is being buried with just a digger and a shovel, we know that's how the person is going to be buried when he dies, if he's a slave. When we see, you look at the face of a woman who giving birth to a baby before you ask for the sex of that baby. That is what is happening. If the central ruling government is still mulling the idea of new tax regime, what they are trying to tell Nigerians is that if they are voted back, they will bring the tax. So probably why they are mulling on it is for election to come and go. So they're going to think about it. So this is part of their campaign promises. Well, that when you vote for me, new tax regime and will tax you. Who is the young man in the Bible, is it Rehoboam or Jeroboam, that told his people, he said, my father ruled you with, but I'm going to rule you with iron and burala. Is that what you're saying? That in from 2030 now to 2023, 2027, that The ruling government ruled us with hardship, hunger, removal of subsidy, and what we are. And you are talking about that when we return to power, that we're going to have new tax regime. Good luck to Nigerians, and good luck. This is all I can make out of the headlines today. I mean, thank God it's not me, that's the Nigerian newspapers. So if you have any issues, go and tell Nigerian newspaper who reported. Because what I'm saying is how much Nigerians interpret this, because I am on the ground as a grassroots. Whether you like it or not, you have also in your own interpreted the newspaper headlines different way. If you want to be part of this, always join us in the morning so that you also give us opinion of what's about the newspapers. So take it the way, just know that it's Nigerian newspapers the way Chris Maduka sees it and review it. So do not hold it against them. God bless you. God bless you, Chair. God bless me too. And God bless Signature TV. But remember that God blessings are meant for those who deserve to be blessed.
Of course, that is it for our newspaper headlines and review segments on the program. Remember, you can read the details of these headlines by picking up a copy of one of the dailies on the newspapers. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll go on a break and we'll be back shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. Coming up next is increased incidences of abuse and violence against children in Nigeria. And that conversation was had with Honorable Ife Obinabo. Do take a look. Stems. Well, this morning we'll be discussing the increased incidences of abuses and violence against children in Nigeria. And we're joined by Honorable Ife Obinabo, the former Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Anambra State. You're very much welcome to Signature Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Glad to be here.
Now,
Hello?
from your experience and in your opinion, I mean, this issue of physical abuse of children generally, what exactly would you say is driving this behavior towards children by their guardians or the adults around them?
Okay, I'll actually tell you that we have so many cases of this increase in this child abuse we are talking about. We have factors that are helping it to be on the increase, which includes poverty, family instability, substance abuse, weak parenting skills, especially from these Gen Z parents. Unemployment, of course, family instability, like I said, harmful cultural practices, poor child protection system, and inadequate enforcement of laws. These are things that keep helping these abuse we are talking about to still be on the increase.
All right, but now there is this ideology about, disciplining the child and abuse. There is this line between knowing when to, because most of these abuse, most times is being perpetrated by family members, parents, relatives, guardians, people close to them. And it's being passed off as disciplinary action or disciplinary measures towards possibly a bad behavior by the child. I would like you to speak on that, because that seems to be one of the
I can't get you. What's
reasons
your
or
question?
excuses that are usually
What's your
being
question? I
given
can't get your
by the
question.
perpetrators of this act.
Please come again. I couldn't get your question.
All right. Now, you've mentioned, the factors and, the things that drive this abuse. And when you look at the cases of abuse, we find that most times it is people who are
My
close
dear,
to the
just thank God.
children,
I'm
like their
having issue with
parents.
my audio. I can't even hear you.
All right. It's quite unfortunate that she can't hear us at this moment. Let's go on a break, and when we return, we'll continue this discussion.
Every second, every minute, every day, news
I can't
is
hear you
breaking.
well.
Events
Please,
occur,
I can't hear.
and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Welcome back. We're still with Honorable Ifi Obinabo. Can you hear me clearly?
Not clearly, just trying to pick your distance. Just trying to pick. Just come again with your question. Let me see if it can be a little clear.
Okay. Now, I said that earlier you mentioned the factors that are the drivers of this abuse and violence against children, one of which you mentioned culture. And we have this culture of discipline in this part of the world. And we find that most of the perpetrators of this act of violence are from parents, guardians, relatives. So I'd like you to speak on, the line, or to what extent violence against children is being passed off as discipline or disciplinary measures on those children.
Okay. If I got you well, I don't. I know that we have so many ways of disciplining our children, and when you do it the wrong way, it can turn to abuse. Okay, but when you do it the right way, at least you do it without inflicting injury. Like I said, I was still having issue with my audio, so I'm not sure I got your question very well. But I know that when you do these things and you inflict physical um, injury, automatically it will turn to abuse. You can correct your child and make sure you don't talk down on the person's self-esteem, and make sure, just like Igbo adage will tell you, that when you beat a child with one hand, you bring that child with the other hand, because we have so many ways of correcting these kids, and that way you avoid the other aspect of it, making it abuse. If I got your question.
You did justice to that, but let's go on a break and come back shortly.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
That there's no corruption. There's no who knows who. And the law is unique. Because when you have law, is somebody actually making sure that no matter how connected that person is, and the person gets into this, commits this crime, that the person will definitely be punished. That's another thing. But when you see these things, the people you will use in working, if somebody is not out to making sure that whoever abuses a child will not go unpunished, the law will just be there sitting, sleeping. The agencies we are supposed to use to carry out this punishment, protection of these children, will still be there. So, reorientation, that's change of character, mindset of our people, knowing that this thing, if it mustn't be your own child, before you get interested in making sure that whoever commits this crime is punished. When you see something, you should be able to say something. Report to the appropriate authority, and when you do your own part as an individual, the people that are saddled with the responsibility of protecting these children should be able to come out, no matter the harsh economic situation we are in the country. Like I mentioned, some of the causes of this abuse, because some of these things will corruption. No matter how maybe you don't have money and this suspect is trying to give you one thing or the other that will money, don't collect it. Be focused on making sure that this suspect is brought to book. This suspect is that the victim is served justice. It's a general thing. It's a chain reaction thing for me.
Right, and you mentioned, if you see something, say something. However, we see that this issue of abuse is often exposed online on social media first, before it even reaches the official institutions or the bodies that are supposed to handle these situations. Just recently, this incident in Anambra State of this child that was physically abused. Yes. One would wonder, weren't the neighbors aware of this, the people around? Why is it that it's now that it's all over on social media, that everyone, wants to come on board and act on it? So what do you say about that?
Okay, one thing is that I will have to commend the neighbors, because even most of them started calling me. I didn't sleep that night that thing happened, because people were just, texting me, giving me videos and all that. But not being a commissioner, I won't be able to act I needed to like give the commissioner, the new commissioner, opportunity to carry out her duty. You know, I said, okay. Besides, I know I have my NGO that I'm working through. I'm working with that NGO right now and doing things like this. But when I now saw that they had already reported to the minister, I said, okay, no problem. Let them handle it. So, one, the neighbors tried, because from what I heard that that child is actually the 5th person that woman is staying with, and she basically abused all these children. That neighbors had to, on whether the one that left before this child, from the allegations, because I had to start asking questions. I have my own way of doing my own investigation, knowing fully well that I have this broadcasting background. You know, that's something that's really helped me and is still helping me. So I don't just focus on what people are saying. I try to still go out of my way to do 1 or 2 investigations and add it up and know the right way to do it. So the neighbors on this matter tried, because the one, they said they had to forcefully insist that the woman should take that particular one home, which the child was reunited with the parents, from what I heard. Then this particular one, they tried, but they didn't start on time. Okay? Why? Because that injury, I know, didn't happen on that one day. They were still seeing that gradually. And another person I will not fail to blame is the husband. You can't be under the same roof with somebody, and that person is trying to commit murder, and you tell me you are staying, you are the person's husband. You are involved too, as far as I'm concerned. If I were to arrest, before I left, I was arresting the man and the woman. If not, you should be able to stop your wife from doing all those things. So, the neighbors tried, but I would suggest that in future they should try more. Okay, then now that is on public domain, which is good, and the wife of the governor stepped in by the grace of God. I like that, and I commend her, and I will equally believe and hoping that at the end of the day we will have the news of the justice. You know, so you know, it's a step, it's a process, and if one is not monitoring that process, if you don't monitor it, you just sit down, and at the end of the day, you might not be happy the way the story will end. So it's a process. You go from one office to the next office, supervise every bit of it, and make sure that it will end well.
All right. Now, what happens to the child as well, the child being abused, seeing that it is now, you know, in public domain and everyone is trying to act on it? What happens to this child immediately after the rescue? Is the child taken back to the parents or with the authorities to take care of the
I wouldn't be, these questions should be answered by the new Commissioner for Women Affairs, because I am no more there. And even I'm still there, then I will be speaking on behalf of the government. But now that I'm no more there, I don't know the process of the new commissioner, what she has done, and what she intends to do at the end of the day. So, but I just know that our First Lady, that she has promised us that the child will have justice, and that's my happiness.
Now, this has also brought up a lot of conversations and issues around children being sent to work as helps or maids in, relatives' houses or people's houses. Do you think that this is a situation that can be stopped, seeing as, just like you mentioned, the issue of poverty and economic situation? Do you see a way around this where children's safety can still be guaranteed even if they are not with their parents, or if they are sent out to work or serve with someone else?
That, it's a criminal offense to send out, it is called child labor. Okay? It is called child labor. So, it's something that can be stopped. How? When you see these children, you don't, it's something that the authority should look into, bring out extra time, extra attention. What do I mean by extra attention and time? When neighbors, when you do sensitization, reorientation, and people, the society, the community will start seeing themselves, will rise up and be responsible to this work of protection, protecting our children. That even if you're not the one involved, and you see somebody bringing in a child, and you know that child is being used as abused, like that. I had my phone, my number on public domain. People should start calling. People should go on their own. It's just build that confidence that they trust you, that when they bring information to you, that they are protected, that they are, we're calling the whistleblowers, okay? That when they bring this information, they will be protected, and telling you that go to so number, you see so thing happening, and you will go. You don't wait for them to come to you. You get? I'm not just talking of Anambra, I'm talking of Nigeria generally. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking of how we can do it in Nigeria generally. Somebody can, when you have these, you create this consciousness in the minds of the citizens, and they say, okay, let's do this. Before you know it, people will rise, people will get into it and start reporting anybody that is doing such a thing. I had so many of them. I have more than 1,000 reports through these meets. I'm telling you, those days, within the 4 years I stayed in office, to the extent that a particular time, I'll give you an example. It's a matter of you letting them know that you are ready. You are just out. You are ready to act. One of the occasions, one lady. I don't want to mention the name of the town. That lady, they wanted to do trafficking of children. An elderly woman, and they were discussing that in her shop. And she, knowing that she will be protected, that she has seen or heard people bringing this kind of reports, and at the end of the day, they are protected and action will be taken. So she was selling to them. They were drinking, eating, and waiting for the babies to be brought. She was still the person giving me information, texting me. At times she would just excuse herself, go, give me direction. And that place, it will take like more than 45 minutes from Oka to that town. And we had to organize people, security. We went to that place, got police involved, and when they caught them red-handed. You see the kind of relationship I'm talking about, confidence, working together. I'm talking about. So when we have it, we raise that consciousness in the minds of people. I bet you all these things will stop. And instead they will say, Anambra. It's happening in other states. So it's happening in other states. Like this woman that did this dinner, she's not from Anambra State. She's from Enugu State. And the state child is from Enugu State. But because our government in Anambra State, that Mr. Governor will always will not want to discriminate, that this one is from Anambra, this one is not from Anambra. So that's why they are doing what they are doing, making sure that the child is protected. From what I heard last, I know we all know that we've been promised and are already doing something. So that's it. We can do it, but government can't do it alone. The people should be ready to do that because we are talking of the innocent children.
Exactly. Now, what would you say are the hindrances or obstacles to ending this violence against children in Nigeria? What would you say are those things that are, hindering or stopping people from acting on, these issues?
Insecurity, corruption, okay, and people not telling themselves the truth, not being ready to do that, nonchalant attitude. It doesn't concern me. The child is not my child. My boils down on these basic ones I mentioned. So these are things that is still making the whole one that will still end up getting the this thing of that bad children. So the society should come. Like I will always say, reorientation is very, very important. Where we are now, let's check where we were before, how we got to where we are. Where we were before, is it better than where we are today? Do we go back a little bit to where we were yesterday in moral upbringing of our children? So these are things we will check. And the church people, the leaders, church leaders, they should come up to, because when we are talking of how we can stop all this, right?
Of course.
Church leaders should come up and join hands in this war we are talking about. Yes, we'll preach whatever the church says we are supposed to preach. But after preaching, still bring it down to what is happening in the society, the contemporary society now, and use it to advise them. Let them know the implication of what they are doing. When these people come together, because government's duty is to make the law, and all of us should come together and see it to bed. And even these people on social media, everybody should come together. Don't be scared of doing the right thing. Because if you don't do the right thing at the end of the day, people doing the wrong thing will still kill you. So why don't you do the right thing and stop them? People should not be so afraid. Most of the time, when you start correcting the ills, you might think that you are risking your life. But you wouldn't know that God and even the society will be, protecting you somehow. So let's come together. If we can't fight it today, our children will suffer it tomorrow. And our children will still inherit it. So when we decide to, at least we know so many African countries that pass through what we are passing today, and today go to Rwanda that are enjoying life. go to some of these African countries that are enjoying life. So let's start wherever. Let's see ourselves as agents of change. When we see ourselves as agents of change, all these things will stop. Wherever we are, wherever you are, you start working. Start making sure that no child is abused. And to even talk more on this, these abusers are human beings. So if you are part of them, work on yourself. Some abuse with your mouth. Work on yourself so that we'll see, make sure that we get it stopped.
All right. And in addition to that, I want to get your opinion. Do you also think that there should be a penalty or a punishment for bystanders or people who see and, don't report or don't talk? Do you think that those people should also face the law for, having information on this, but not?
Yes. That's my stand. That was what I said at the initial. I said, especially husband and wife. You can't be under the same roof and your wife will be abusing a child. And you tell me that you were warning her. You were warning her. And you didn't forcefully take that child back to the owner of the child, the parents of the child. When such thing happens, the man should be arrested. The people in that house should be, all the adults in the house should be arrested.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem.
There is no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens. One that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours. Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorom, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
Toyin Adewale, a veteran Nollywood actress, has revealed how her son, Nigerian musician Mayukun, first came in contact with Davido. Mayukun garnered global popularity after performing a rendition of Davido's song The Money. The cover later led to his contract with Davido's Music Worldwide, where he remained from 2016 until 2021. During an interview, Adewale revealed that Davido first approached Mayukun via social media after seeing the viral cover. According to her, the family did not immediately believe the message was genuine, as they suspected someone might have been impersonating the singer. She said that Mayukun later met with Davido, marking the beginning of their relationship that helped the start of his music career. Davido recently drew attention during the FIFA World Cup countdown concert in Los Angeles, where he wore a custom-made jacket bearing the names of kidnapped school children and teachers from Oyo State, a gesture aimed at highlighting their plight on the global stage. While giving fans a memorable performance at the World Cup event, Davido wore a customized leather jacket decorated with buttons bearing the names of the pupils and teachers recently abducted in the Owerri local government area of Oyo State. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, Peter Obi, has praised Afrobeat sensation Davido for using his performance at the 2026 FIFA World Cup countdown concert to protest Nigeria's insecurity and mass abductions. Obi, who spoke via his official X handle, called Davido's actions an act of patriotism, transcending entertainment to demand crucial international scrutiny. Obi noted that Davido's impactful gesture in drawing global attention to Nigerian security challenges warrants commendation. He said that by utilizing his international platform, Davido effectively highlighted Nigeria's security crisis, transcending mere entertainment. South African government has expressed concern over the growing economic consequences of xenophobia allegations against the country, saying the backlash is affecting businesses and entertainers across Africa. South Africa's Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamoloko Kubayi, says several South African artists have lost performance opportunities on the continent, while businesses operating abroad are also facing challenges linked to the perception of xenophobia. Speaking during an interview, SABC Kubayi insisted that recent actions taken by authorities were aimed at tackling illegal immigration and should not be interpreted as xenophobic attacks against African nationals. She also stated that the entertainment industry has been particularly affected, with several performers reportedly losing bookings as a result of the controversy. Kubayi disclosed that one entertainer informed her that all scheduled performances outside South Africa has been called off, resulting in a significant loss of income. The comments come amid renewed scrutiny of South Africa following reports of anti-immigrant incidents that prompted Nigeria, Ghana, Malawi, and other African countries to evacuate some of their citizens from the country. The controversy has also spilled into sports. Last week, South Africa's captain, Ronwe Williams, expressed disappointment after Bafana's 2-0 defeat to Mexico in their opening match at 2026 FIFA World Cup. Williams said he was surprised that many African supporters appeared to back Mexico rather than South Africa, and called for greater solidarity among African nations during international competitions. And that's the entertainment news. Tochukwu Eche for Signature TV News, ENUGU.
Bright and early as the day breaks, as the newspaper headlines trail the stories that shape the day, we at Signature TV trail the headlines that trail the day. We interrogate the headlines. We analyze the stories that make the headlines.
Why is overrated, and they even overrated themselves and went into CBT. They are insensitive of some Nigerian children who have never had what they call CBT.
With passion and emotion, we drive the conversation to change the narrative.
Let nobody be deceived by Nigerian high level of performing in agriculture export.
we are still where we are.
Newspaper review on Signature TV every morning on Signature Morning, weekdays, and Signature New Day, weekends. Newspaper review on Signature TV. We do not just review the headlines, we make the headlines relevant to our daily lives.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? Nigeria has gone digital. Introducing Free TV, the national platform for every Nigerian. Get 100 plus channels immediately. Sports, news, and entertainment in your native language with clear picture quality. Whether you're in the city or the village, our satellite signal reaches every corner of 36 states from day one. No monthly subscription, just a compatible decoder, and you are set. It's a national asset built for you. Take the show on the road, download the Free TV app and stream your favorite channels anywhere. Starting this May, scan to download the app or call 0700 388 7277. Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
Get plugged into the heartbeat of entertainment on The Hub, your ultimate show on eVibes. From trending stories and social media drama to top charting music, must-watch movies and exciting moments from the world of arts, we've got it all. Join us for unmissable conversations with your favorite entertainment personalities, plus fun segments every week.
So I should try harder. So
Okay, I don't know that one.
outfit of the day.
Oh, I don't do that.
No.
That's some Gen Z stuff.
Oh, now you say it's a Gen Z stuff.
It's everything you love about entertainment, served fresh every week at 1 p.m. with weekend repeats just in case you missed it. The Hub's on eVibes, where the vibes never stop. Only on Signature TV.
Before one is made a Chief Justice of the Federation, the appointment has to be sanctioned by the National Judicial Council. And for that to be done, the person has to be deemed to be qualified to occupy that position. For instance, there is a particular number of years, because in as much as it is conventional for the Chief Justice of the Federation to be appointed from the 7 Justices of the Supreme Court, there is no law that also prohibits the president from even going outside the confines of the Justice of the Supreme Court to appoint a practicing lawyer. For instance, a practicing lawyer who has practiced law for at least up to 10 years in the country is also qualified to be a judge, in which case the president can go outside, you know, the shores of the already existing Justice of the Supreme Court to appoint. So if, for instance, the person you are trying to put forward is not qualified constitutionally to occupy that particular position, then that would be a ground upon which the Senate will say no, that you have forwarded this person's name for us to give our stamp of approval, but we will not do that. Secondly, prima facie, the candidate may be qualified, but there may be an allegation, a very fundamental allegation against that person. Let's say allegation bordering on corruption. If prima facie the allegation is weighty, then the Senate may say that based on public policy, that if you have the right to, you know, to put forward the name or names of candidates, as the case may be, who you want to occupy this particular position, that this particular individual whose name you have forwarded to us, that there are fundamental challenges that has bedeviled his candidacy based on so and so reports. Let's say security reports. If there is a very, not just flimsy, there is a very cogent security report against the person sought to be made the Chief Justice of the Federation, based on that security report, the Senate can say, based on national interest, that we will not be given our approval, in as much as the president is given that powers to appoint whoever he wants to, subject to the fact that that appointment must be done in line with the Constitution. So it's not an open-ended power. And that's why the National Judicial Council is there to ensure that whoever may be put forward to occupy that position should be someone who is constitutionally qualified to occupy that position.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
Today is World Sickle Cell Day, observed every year on June 19th. It is a global day set aside to raise awareness about sickle cell disease and the realities faced by millions of people living with the condition. Sickle cell disease is one of the most common inherited blood disorders in the world. It affects the shape and function of red blood cells, turning them from smooth, round cells into rigid, sickle-shaped cells. These abnormal cells block blood flow, reduce oxygen supply, and trigger episodes of severe pain known as sickle cell crisis. For many families, this is not just a medical term. It is a lifelong condition that requires constant care, hospital visits, and emotional resilience. In countries like Nigeria, the burden is particularly high. Nigeria has one of the largest populations of people living with sickle cell disease globally, and thousands of children are born with the condition each year. This makes it not just a health issue, but a major public health concern. One of the key challenges remains awareness. Many young people still enter relationships or marriage without knowing their genotype status, increasing the risk of giving birth to children with sickle cell disease. Health experts continue to emphasize the importance of genotype testing and genetic counseling as simple but powerful preventive tools. Living with sickle cell disease comes with daily struggles. Patients often experience unpredictable pain crises, chronic fatigue, and increased vulnerability to infections. In severe cases, complications can affect vital organs such as the heart, kidney, lungs, and brain. Children living with the condition may miss school frequently, while adults may face challenges in sustaining regular work due to recurring health issues. Beyond the physical impact, there is also emotional stress, stigma, and financial pressure on families trying to manage long-term care. However, there is also progress. Advances in treatments such as hydroxyurea therapy, improved pain management, blood transfusions, and preventive vaccinations have significantly improved life expectancy and quality of life for many patients. In addition, newborn screening is helping in early detection and early intervention, which is critical in reducing complications. Scientists are also making progress in gene therapy and stem cell research, offering hope that future treatments could move closer to a permanent cure. World Sickle Cell Day is therefore not only about awareness, but also about action. Action to promote testing, strengthen healthcare systems, reduce stigma, and support families affected by the condition. It is also a reminder that people living with sickle cell disease are not defined by their condition. With proper care, support, and understanding, many go on to live full, productive, and successful lives. So as we mark this day, the message is simple. Know your genotype, seek early diagnosis, support those living with sickle cell disease, and help build a society where no child suffers from preventable lack of awareness. Happy World Sickle Cell Day. Do stay with us.
New every morning on Signature TV, we open the day for you with needed energy, information, and required vibes to shape your day. From sizzling snippets of stories in various areas of life to intriguing conversations with net worth guests.
When you have people who have no track record becoming your leaders, you have a problem. There's no outstanding gratuity when Obi took over from me. I left in all the accounts of Anambra State 13.8 billion for him.
Your day cannot be complete without Signature Morning on weekdays and Signature New Day on weekends. There is no better way to start your day except Signature Morning and Signature New Day every day on Signature TV.
Welcome back. You're still watching Signature Morning on Signature TV. And the recent incidents of child abuse, including the widely discussed case in Anambra State, once again has drawn national attention to the safety and welfare of children in Nigeria. This morning we have in the studio Onyi Mama. She is the Executive Director, Heroing Women Foundation, and the President, Women Support Women for Human Empowerment and Mentorship Initiative, WSUO. You're welcome to Signature Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Now, drawing on, what happened in Anambra State, first of all, I'd like to get your opinion on that particular situation and also, how it has been handled so far.
All right. So, I have a somewhat very emotionally laden approach to all of the scenario, but I have a huge concern for the women folk who have continued to listen to us over the years, advocate for right, proper, and advised treatment of minors, juveniles, and everyone that falls below the 18 years bracket. And even if it is beyond 18 years, humans have the right to be treated well. I'm still trying to really ruminate over the scene, over the picture of that boy. I've been trying to kind of dissect what really happened. Was she burning up the boy's body? Was she trying to cook the boy? Did the boy suddenly become a con? You can't really understand the number of activities, brutal battery, beastly beating that transformed that boy to a zombie, looking all roasted up. I still cannot really marinate my thoughts around the circumstances that made that woman become a beast instead of a mother who understands what it means to bleed, what it means to carry a child for 9 months, the travails of motherhood, and then to talk of delivery. And then you could look at someone's child and wear it all out on the child without a redress, without trying to hold your hand and a little bit. One would want to wonder if a human being really did that. I mean, to really analyze it, you want to wonder if, I did a clip sometime 2 weeks ago, and I said we actually have two kinds of bandits. There are domestic bandits. I'm sorry, but I have to call that woman a domestic bandit. One who treats life like life is not worth a second. One who does not understand the privileges that are accrued to a common person. And you try to overuse your strengths, your dominance, and your age over a child. I mean, it's nothing to write home about. I don't know how this has been auguring with people who see it and try to converse around it, but I've not really put myself together. Each time I look up that picture, And
I learned she has been given about 15 years.
Yes.
Do you think that is equivalent to, what the level of injury that has been inflicted on that boy?
All right, so the boy is not dead. Fortunately enough, the boy is recuperating. It's under intense medical care and attention. That is not to say that we are equating the level of menace that has been perpetrated on the body sequel to the number of sentences that the woman has gotten. But I tell you of a day and of a big deal. The years that she has been given is also not going to serve her a platter of good food, because there will be emotional pain, which is even more dreadful than the body pain she inflicted on the child. She's going to stay without carrying her own child that she so nursed and carried like a mother. She's going to stay without seeing her plump young child, the boy. She's going to stay and not feel the warmth of her home. So emotionally, she's going to be more traumatized than the guy. Physically, she's going to be looking and really see she's abandoned. You know, when the whole world has come on you like a hailstorm, like a thunderstorm, and they want to let all hell loose on your head, it's enough to kill you within the 15 years, where nobody will be showing you any level of mercy. People will not be treating you well. People won't speak to you well. Probably most of the people who used to love her will not even come to see her, while she will be resting her butts in the prison. So emotionally, she's also going to be as blistered and battered up like the boy. Because if I feel that the greatest pain of a mother would be to unwillingly let go of her home, not to talk of her children. So the 15 years is going to serve her a very toxic juice of her own pill in another direction. It may not be enough, but for me it is good, because she's going to live in absence of the feel of being a mother. She wants, you know, you saw her weeping up. She was weeping. Please, let me be with him. Let me be with the boy. He's sick. He has been throwing up since morning. You know, the probability and the probability that the son may even die. So you know about people's children dying, and you didn't know about the young chap of 10 years who you were battering up incessantly, dying also. I saw that 3 days ago, the boy had 2 injuries. Two surgeries were carried out on the boy's leg. And, you know, within me, I'm still wondering, what really happened? What level of insanity is this? Who is this? How do people perpetrate such level of inhuman acts and they still breathe, sleep, and they eat well as if nothing has been happening? Because it was the action of the people who were living with them in the same residence that called out to the boy where he was abandoned in an isolated, should I call it a cubicle security house, in an isolated place. So even the cold will come hitting on the boy directly. Ants will bite him, mosquito will bite him, and you never felt an inkling of emotion to save the boy. So let her enjoy the fruits and the beauty of her 15 years without anybody reaching out to her. And I pray that blisters and some things will come up on her body, so she would at least feel what it means to carry sores unattended to.
But one would wonder about, you know, the husband as well, because they are a family, so it go without the husband not being aware of something like this going on. But it seems like all the heat is on the woman alone.
Should I tell you my truth? So I'm even more angry with the man. Knowing he is around, knowing he is the male figure, knowing he has a dominant role to play in calling the woman to order. So I'm so eaten up with the fact that there was even a man in that house. And I wonder what has been, you know, transpiring in that house. I wonder the series of actions that cascaded down the line that has made that man a moping man instead of a reacting man. I don't know how Nigerians are, you know, enjoying the series of movies that come out from not calling the man to speak. Tell us what you have done. Tell us how you try to intervene. Tell us if you even tried at all to salvage the matter. I mean, nobody in their normal God-given senses will look at that boy and not dare to do some things.
Now, this is just one incident out of many incidents that happen across the country. And why do we see such rising cases of abuse and violence against children, particularly children that were sent out to as helps or maids and things like that?
I was just driving into the quarters. I was about to enter the street and I got a call, a very tension-high call. And they said, Uni mama, a child has gotten his eyes bandaged up by the auntie that she lives with. And, you know, she keeps beating up that girl to the point she got the eyes injured. And this morning, the eyes of that girl is being bandaged. 3 weeks ago, she registered her in a school. And for one day, the girl has not stepped her feet into the school. And I said again, in less than 3 hours or 3 days, this particular one is happening. Someone there injure another child's eye just this moment. And I told myself, once I leave this place, I'm going with my team to the woman's house. The woman said nobody will do anything. That the girl advising her to send the child back to her parents will not do a thing. We are coming to do something with her. Because you don't manhandle a citizen of the state. You don't manhandle a child who has a right under the child right law. So too many cases swim and travel around this society. If we come up to say it, if we come up to divulge the volume of societal nuances and ills that eat up the society, we will all lose it. We will completely not believe in humanity. But I still know that there are human beings who do things in the right proportion, who are sincere about the love they share, who are sincere about the kind of heart they have for other people. Because we all cannot turn into what I am saying today. No, it's not true. It's not true. So, but the volume of evil being perpetrated at a time in this society brings you to the point where you are even scared of almost everybody.
What would you say is the reason behind this evil?
Yes. So I see people who have wrong foundation. I see people who are bedeviled with the poverty situation of both their families and the society. I see people whose communication is faulty. I also see people who do not understand the tenements of the law and how to abide by the law. I also see a society where everybody gets away with some of the things they do, so they keep doing it. I see a society where nobody is aligned to follow a procedure. Do you know that a child that I saved last week from one man who was terribly beating up that young boy, when I called the mother in Onitsha and I said, if by dusk of today you don't come to pick your son from this family, I'm going to write to the commissioner of Anambra and you will be apprehended and you will know how serious it is to be a state task force person. And she said, Madam, I don't know where they are living. I don't have their phone number. How? How? You took your own son and handed over to someone like a commodity. You mean your child was handed over like a product? You are in Onitsha, and your family and your son is in ENUGU, and you don't know the exact location, you don't know their address, and you don't have the phone number of the man your son is living with, an 11-year-old vulnerable son. And I said, Madam, I have no more long words for you. But if you do not leave all the important things in your life in Onitsha and come and pick this boy, I will take it personal with you. And by 4:15 of that day, she came from Onitsha and she picked the boy up. I was glad. I was glad. Because I told her, call all your ancestors, call the people of your village. If you don't pick that boy from the hospital, where that boy is with the man, already battered up, a boy that will cringe at the sight of the man, he will seriously be beaten up and sent under the rain. And you tell me you don't. And what shook me was when I called her initially and I said, Madam, you need to come for your son. And she said, yes, somebody has called me. I think what you need to do is to put him in the vehicle and I'll pick him up. And I said to her, 11-year-old boy, I'll put him in the vehicle and you will pick him up. Are you saying that we live in the states where security, where commuters and the people are so organized that this boy will journey safely to where you are and you will pick him up? That was where I lost it completely. I was like, have we gotten to this point where people even say things without weighing it? I should put an 11-year-old boy for you. And I said, Madam, I said it in Igbo. I said, if I open my eyes and drop my phone, and that boy is not with you in Onitsha, the same woman who says she has already prepared her abacha to sell, she doesn't know what to do, she don't know who will help her, that we should help her. 4:15 of that same day, she picked up her son. So poverty is there. People not being careful, being in disregard of the law. There's bad foundation of believing that if you do not manhandle children roughly, they will never grow to be good adults. But not at the volume that we're seeing. And not even with manhandling. There's a level of poor communication that some parents share with their children, where their children do not let out how they feel and what they feel to the parents, because the parents are high there, the children are low, hidden somewhere, dying in their recluse. So there's a whole lot of factors. And we keep saying this. My scare is how much we've said this, where we've said it, and how we continue to say it, yet people continue to live by it.
You mentioned this, just listening to this story that you just told now, and I'm wondering, isn't there a way with the problem? They know that their children are being maltreated, but they leave them there. Is there a way this thing can be stopped?
It has been regulated by the states, by the Ministry of Children, Gender Affairs and Social Development. It has even come up as a bill in the State House of Assembly, initiated by Honorable Princess Obi Ajurugu sometime 2 years ago, that if you bring in a child, come to the ministry and administer her biodata or his biodata. Go to the police and say, I brought in this child, and you are not allowed to take a certain age for an aid or help. So that we will understand. Did you notice something about the current case that we're talking about? The child who is being maltreated looks even smaller than the son of the woman who battered her up. So who is carrying who? Who is caring for who here? And I see women do a lot of these things. They say, don't bring me a grown-up, oh, I cannot manage them. And so your child is 5 years, you're bringing a person of either 5 years or 6 years. It's ridiculous. It makes some of us women look like we are the devil ourselves. Who is carrying who? That case that we intervened in Tinker's Corner, where the woman got the child's hair heated open, and they pushed her into the bedroom. It was a neighbor that called us in the next morning, and that child was saved. The woman and the husband, they are swimming their life now in the correctional center in Nsukka. That girl will walk until 12, and by 12, she's still carrying a fat baby that is 1 year old, and you expect her. You expect that girl, that young girl, who is still awake by 12, not to let the baby she's carrying to slip off her hand. This is the height of...
You mentioned the Child Rights Act, and I know that we have laws that are there to protect our children. But even with these laws, we still see this high rate of... Why do we have laws that do not seem to actually protect these children in real time?
I'll tell you why. It's simple. So, we have a judiciary is slow, and the judiciary do not uphold sanction. If I know that a week or 2 weeks will not pass without me seeing an offenders register where someone is being sentenced for either maltreating, sexually molesting a juvenile, defiling, or any class of abuse, people will really caution themselves. If I also know that no matter who I am, and I fall into this level of crime in the society, that I will not get help from either a government friend or who friend to save me, I will be very, very skeptical of getting myself either as a perpetrator or an accomplice. But because 60 to 65% of the time, people, because they know the judiciary is slow, the police, I don't want to talk about the situation of us and the police here, because we've said it and said it and said it. They will always appear and they will contradict the truth. I'm just praying that a day will come when all of us will wake up and live in so glaring a truth that it cannot be dampened. But as at this moment, there is denial from both the police to the judiciary. If you get a case of defilement or a case of child abuse, and you're delaying it in 1 year, 2 years, there will be more numbers coming up. But beautifully, Anambra has taken the bull by the horn by not allowing this one to pass a week, and the woman is already giving conviction. This is what we're saying. It doesn't give us joy to see people enter the prison. It also does not give us joy to see children maltreated. People need to put themselves in order.
Now, this is actually very worrisome because if the judiciary is slow and, just like you said, the time frame for getting justice is so prolonged, the security agencies are also not to be trusted because they also have lapses on their own end. What then does that mean for the children in this situation? Like, what hope do they have when the hopes that are supposed to be there for them are not functioning at maximum capacity?
All right, so the people will make demands. There's something in our work we call social accountability, social auditing. It comes from the people, not from the governing. And so when cases like this come up and people keep making demands, the jurisdiction that is responsible for taking up matters will see to it. The problem is that a lot of things are cushioned and we soon lose our voice to continue to make demands. The children should not lose hope. There are still good people fighting the cause of both equity, both health, both rights. There are still good police officers. Because for what we are saying, we are not generalizing it. There is still a system where you find good legal practitioners who want justice to hold power. Even if they are just minuscule in number, but we have them. So the children should not lose hope. Because you don't know who will intervene in your own case. And you don't know how your own case will be handled. But I'm even praying that the children don't continue to have cases. It doesn't speak well of a 21st century society that intends to develop more, that intends to have a future, where children under 18, 17 is having a rise, a hike in number of different levels of abuse being meted on them. It's not just dehumanizing, it's also, it's a dark image for us as a people. Because beyond what is happening to the children, we should also see ourselves as a people who are failing in some areas.
Now, apart from handling the perpetrators of this crime, what about these children? For instance, this boy that has been so brutally disfigured all over his skin, and also the other people who have endured one form of abuse or the other, do we have a well-structured, functioning, safe haven for these children, both in terms of their mental health and just trying to bring them back from whatever it is that they must have gone through in the hands of these people?
Okay, so what you're asking of, we call it PSS in our work, where there's rehabilitation, there's reintegration, there's medical production or provisions for them, and health care for the children. Now, we have shelter, but I tell you that the shelter, it's not adequate. It's not commensurate to the number of cases that chill ENUGU society per day or per month or even per year. So there's need for us to have more conducive shelters. Again, we need more medical practitioners. We need more counselors who have more of the clinical psychology qualification and also the mental health qualification data. So there's a whole lot we still need to do. We have a safe haven. The problem is that our safe haven is not enough. We have FSP, we have Tamasak, we have some other shelters who privately or indirectly are linked also to the government because of collaboration, but it is not enough. We also talk about the sustainability of the children who come to these shelters. How much can they be kept? How long can they be kept? What is being provided for them? So these are the areas where I tell you that people need to keep making demands and the government will prioritize it.
This growing trend of social media, now it seems as though most of these issues come to public light and everybody wants to pitch in when it is viral or when it goes online on social media. And I start to wonder, for instance, this boy, I mean, this has gone on for a while. It didn't just start just now that we are seeing it. So why is it that behind the scenes, possibly people around, the neighbors, or didn't, act towards it up until now, and then it goes on social media? Like, I just want to hear your thoughts on that idea of bystander effect, where people just stay from a distance and watch until maybe one person or a group of people decide to take it upon themselves to, make it public.
There's a slogan we used to advise. That was 2011, 2012. We say, be your neighbor's keeper. See something, say something. I mean, that acronym, it's so common. It's so common that I wonder why it is hard for our people to indoctrinate it. I wonder why it has become so high for our people to imbibe it. It's someone that called me this morning. It's not her child. The child who is being maltreated is not her relative. But she had to look out for that child. We just need a lot more persons becoming humans than becoming, I don't care. Or even if I care, I don't want that woman's or that man's trouble. I think that's the cluster. The cluster is this group of people who think they have a lot of problems to go and, bring in other people's problem into their own curfews. But then, what would you say if something you would have, gotten involved in kills another? We don't divulge the names of people who report. We don't divulge how they reported. We come to you and we tell you, this case has been, like when we get to the woman's house today, we will knock and we say, we're from the state task force. We had a child is being maltreated here. Can we see the child? Madam, who are you? Has she been going to school? If she's going to school, let us have the number of the school where she goes to. And today, madam, send this child home. And if that girl is badly injured, she may be sent to the police. Because you don't just injure people. What if she goes blind? You're bandaging her eyes. And you still have the temerity to tell people that they will do nothing. Because you feel you are assertive enough to carry out actions on a child who is vulnerable. At the same time, you're being approached. You are assertive enough to say people will do nothing. No, people will do something. So I think for us as the media and us on this side as gender advocates, we need to also be loud like the people on social media to say, look out for your neighbor. Look out for the truth. We need to be loud. The media, you are the fourth estate of the realm. We have a collaborative activity with you because we also speak out to the public. We are the intermediary between the government and the people. So I think what we should do is loud it. Look out for people. Monitor what happens. Do you know that why I drive? If I see any child who is supposed to be in school and on the streets, or if I see you're so young and you're hawking, I will stop. If a lot more people did that, we would have. But people,
Generally speaking, would you say that the system in Nigeria has failed children?
So, I will not say they have failed, but they are almost about to fail. Because you don't put an end to something that is not ended, right? So I will not say they have failed. And let me say it, if we resurrect today, if we have a paradigm shift today, if we remodel the style with which we prioritize human being in this society, as of today, it won't be late, because a lot more instances are coming. A lot more children are growing up to meet us. A lot more things will still happen. So if we have gone 85% bad, the remaining 15 should be salvaged by redressing it and trying to step further back and gain time. So I will not say we have failed. I will say we are almost failing. And if we succeed in failing, just like they used to say, the society will pay for what the children will give back to the society. Because there's no injured soul that will not injure another person.
Well, thank you so much, Onyemama, for joining us this morning on the program. I enjoyed this for joining us. Onyemama is the Executive Director, Heroine Women Foundation. She's also the President, Women Support Women for Human Empowerment and Mentorship Initiative, WSUWO, talking on the rising incidences of abuses and violence against children in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us on Signature Morning today. Do stay tuned as Signature Morning continues from Abuja studios right after this break. I am Uchenna Olwoha. Have a nice day.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox. It's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours. Health is more than a diagnosis. It's your lifestyle, your choices, and your future. Join us on Inside Health, your weekly deep dive into the stories, science, and solutions shaping your well-being. From expert interviews to real-life journeys of healing and hope, we cover it all.
One of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with the diet.
Nutrition, mental health, innovations in medicine, fitness, and everyday wellness. Whether you're managing a condition, staying informed, or just living your best life, Inside Health is your trusted guide.
I'm Tigiti Agorum, and I'll be with you every week on Inside Health, only on Signature TV.
We are local.
International communities Why the main market is in chaos. People are...
We are national.
Those in support of this motion as amended, say aye. Aye. We have taken the vote by default.
We are international.
Israeli airstrikes.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.
We are back. Thank you so much for joining us and for sticking with us. Now, a few cases have shaped discussions about corruption, accountability, and institutional integrity in Nigeria. As much as that involving Dezani Alison Madueke. Now, since leaving office, she has faced investigations and asset recovery actions in Nigeria, the United States, and the United Kingdom. And of course, this has brought about conversations on what accountability should look like in high-profile corruption cases. This morning, joining us on Zoom is Ejike Okpa, a global affairs analyst, to talk on Nigeria and handling of high-level integrity cases. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, looking at Dezani's case that has spanned more than a decade, multiple countries, numerous court proceedings, what does that reveal, or what do you have to say, looking at how the case has been handled so far, about Nigeria's own approach to handling high-level corruption investigations?
Yeah, good question. I think this thing started in 2015 when Jonathan left office, and then she too also she served in Jonathan's administration. And then, I think she was first indicted in Nigeria, and then she gave an excuse that she was going abroad for medical treatment for cancer, something like that. And then, the judge granted her that, and then she left. And, and then once she left, she never came back. EFCC went after her and, see some stuff she owned in Lagos and all of that. But then the question is that, the UK thing, she was charged and then it went on as long as it did. And then she went to trial, and a few days ago, then they said that she was not guilty of whatever the charges were. But the point here is how come in Nigeria, coming on 66 years of independence, is not able to prosecute people, officials that have done wrong. I mean, everybody is sort of innocent, to proven guilty. But in this case, they always go away. It's a different, they go to another country, especially, UK. And that's where they're tried. James Libori, who was former governor of Delta State, the time there, and then Martian, whatever his name was, I can't ever get it right. The governor before Jonathan took over, the same thing. So it makes you wonder, do people, the leadership in Nigeria, ever consider the damage this thing does to Nigeria? That you can't prosecute your own people when they do wrong. It's the country that you say colonized you is the country that is part of the Western country, and that people always go to either for medical treatment or again, for in this case corruption or steal money. Uh, that come after your own people. It should be a matter of concern for Nigeria to come up with a law that if you're ever going to serve in a government, and if you're accused, all this idea of being accused and then they grant you for medical treatment, heck no. No. Stay in Nigeria and, get the medical treatment. If you die in the process, so be it, because while they were doing the stealing, uh, obviously they were not concerned about their health. But once they have been accused, then they're going to get, order to go for a medical checkup, and then they never come back. There are so many Nigerians that use that excuse and they got away, and it's not good. Of course, the court has said she's not guilty, but the people know that she did something. It's just one of those things we say in America, you got away with it. But you should make Nigerian lawmakers and even Nigerians enough of this. This is Nigeria has become a joke. Is the giant of Africa, is the giant joke of Africa. You will never see something like this happen in the Western world, and an American or government official, ran to Mexico, and Mexico tries the person and convicts them or not convict them. The long arm of Nigeria should extend beyond Nigerian borders if Nigerian people are serious and they want to be respected. It doesn't matter if somebody is accused of something and they are in another country, the Nigerian government should tell the country, release this person, or we shut down our embassy or high commission with you. You withdraw the ambassador. You tell the ambassador, go home, and you record your own ambassador. This is something you need to do so that people can start taking Nigeria serious. But if until that is done, nobody's going to take Nigeria serious. Obviously, this lady, the annoying part of this is, when Jonathan was there, the Minister for Finance is from Delta, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The Minister of Petroleum was there. So these are significant ministries. But what did the Delta people get? The Delta people complain, they're the ones that are, producing the oil that feeds Nigeria. But your own people cannot, when you put them in office, don't turn around and do something for you, for that part of the world. It's a shame. It has nothing to do with, the Western world, because nobody's pointing a gun at the head of these people. These are people who are intentionally. I'm not saying she did it, but obviously, there's no smoke without fire. Now, okay, she's found guilty. Let her turn around and come back to Nigeria. Let her come and visit Nigeria, or let EFCC, release the assets that they seized before. So, but the point again is that, I shake my head when I see stuff like this. Come on, Nigeria, you can do better than this. I don't know if you remember when one Nigerian minister was created, they put him in a crate and wanted to smuggle him. That was during Buhari military rule in the 80s. Wanted to bring him to Nigeria, and the British people, foiled that effort. At least I commend Buhari for taking that step. It is enough. This should be the boundary. This should be the end of it. No Nigerian minister, once you serve office, in fact, there should be a code of conduct. You cannot live abroad immediately 2-3 years after you leave office. And let's see the Nigerian who will sign on to it. The minister that served in what is his name, Buhari's time. The Yoruba woman. As soon as she leave because of allegation of NYC something. So these people are not serious about serving Nigeria. They are serious about what are they going to get, and once they get it, boom, it's one leg in, one leg out. Nobody can be successful if you're not committed to serving the master. Didn't the Bible say it? Nobody can serve two masters at the same time, and end up doing a good job. That's what Nigerians are. Don't recruit people who are going to run away and go back, to somewhere else. If you want to serve Nigeria, be in Nigeria. or if after you have served, you sign that you will not leave the country, 3-4 years after you've done the service. You sign that, it becomes a public record once you leave. And if you are accused, that you will stay in Nigeria and deal with the accusation until the case is discharged.
Why would you say that cases involving senior public officials seem to be a bit more difficult to investigate? What institutional factors would you say are the reason behind the length of time, or why such cases drag on for so long in Nigeria?
It takes time because, first of all, the institution in Nigeria is very weak. The investigative aspect is weak, the judicial aspect is weak, and then this Oga, Madam, culture of respecting those who steal from you is very strong in Nigeria. You could see it anytime somebody is accused. Look at the number of people that accompany the person to court. The gather is like, oh yeah, he didn't do it or he did it, but it's our own. So I think again, this is something where Nigerians have become unashamed about something that is very shameful. Again, when somebody is accused, everybody should step aside. Let that individual go and do, answer to the charge. They say everybody should have a day in court when accused. They should go to court and deal with it. Nigerian institutions are very, very weak. It's not the judges. You can see the judges granting some rulings that makes you shake your head. Why somebody is accused of something and you say, oh, I'm sick, I need to go to the medical checkup, and you grant them each. There should be a hospital for accused people. Go over there, because while you were doing that stealing or at least conniving, you were not thinking of getting sick. So again, these are things that they should come back and pass a law at the state level, at the federal level. Once you are accused, you are not going anywhere. You have to deal with it. You have to sit back in Nigeria, because there's some money left in Nigeria, and that money, if you go back and look at what Dizani has spent in 11 years defending herself. So the question is, how did she get the money? If she was going to base her resources on salaries paid that she earned as a minister, how many years was that? How was she able to stay for 11 years outside of the country and then do what and build up a legal defense to do that? How much money did that thing cost? Because she didn't use a public defender for this. She probably hired some of the top lawyers to do it. But then, she was gone for 11 years or so. So who was in power at the time? But, Buhari was there, and then Tinubu was there. So, and those people were going to London. Why they were in London? They never made a press conference. They never said it to the British High Commission. They never publicly said, one of our former top officials is here being accused. We want Britain to release her to Nigeria. And if Britain don't release it to Nigeria, we are going to withdraw our High Commission. Sometimes when you say certain things, people say, okay, let's see what are you going to do. But when you go there, when Buhari was in office, it wasn't he oftentimes over there for medical treatment. He spent more time over there than probably spent while he was in office the first time. And then, what is his name? Tinubu has gone over there. But the point is, who is that Nigerian leader who's going to stand up for the sake of integrity, for the sake of respect for the country that you are leading when your own is accused? I'm not saying you're going to say he or she is wrong, but you say, release this person to our own system. We want to try ourselves. Britain don't have to try Nigerian former officials. Just like, what is his name? Ike Ekweremadu is in jail for what? Organ transplant. And so many other people or lesser thieves. Nigeria should take a stand, and that stand is not being taken. I mean, it's like London or England has become a second home for Nigerian officials. You know, when Atiku left office, wasn't he, there like this? He has a home in, what is it called? In Dubai. Come on, guys. I mean, come on. And then everybody is happy, oh, this is what I need to do. Let me just wait for my turn. I remember before this time was Dan Etiete, who was during the military. He hasn't come home, and he's living large. So, don't let people steal from you, and when they steal from you, they rub it on your face. And the way they do it is that, what are you going to do? I can guarantee you this is not going to come back to Nigeria. If she comes back, there will be peace. I mean, of course, now she'll say, hey, I didn't do anything wrong. And then there will be people at the airport. But you go to her village. You go to the state she claims from. She's from Bayelsa. What did Bayelsa get out of this? What did she do? What benefit? Oh, our own person is in office. Then your own person gets into office, and what do they get? This is what they get. They build good mansions or whatever they call as good man, and they run away, and then you still beating your chest. It's not about that. It's about the collective good, the goodwill that, a country gets because of, your role in high places. But this one is not very good. I just hope Nigeria will use this as the last time, the last time, and they go back to everybody who's in office, sign a paper with us that if you are sick, no matter what the sickness is, once an accusation, you can't